There are many problems with your leadership, but the biggest problem is this. You don't seem to know how to tell the difference between the good guys and the bad guys. Go after the bad guys. Go after the terrorists.
The gentlelady from Texas, Ms. Johnson, 5 minutes of questions.
Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem just got confronted in Congress for deporting a Purple Heart recipient who was shot twice serving our country. She imprisoned a Navy veteran's wife for 4 months over $80 in bad checks. She locked up the father of 3 United States Marines who was tackled while mowing a lawn at IHOP. All 3 cases, Kristi Noem had the discretionary authority to help them. She chose not to. As Seth Magaziner said, she can't tell the difference between the good guys and the bad guys. Let's watch this heated hearing. Hit that subscribe button and help us reach 100,000 subscribers.
Recognize the gentleman from Rhode Island, Mr. Magaziner, for 5 minutes of questions.
Madam Secretary, how many United States military veterans have you deported?
Sir, we have not deported U.S. citizens or military veterans.
I don't believe you served in the military. I haven't either, but I think you and I can agree that as Americans, we owe everything to those who have served our country in uniform, particularly those who have served in combat. Do you agree with that?
Sir, I believe that people that are in this United States that are citizens have legal status here.
Madam Secretary, we are joined on Zoom by a gentleman named Sae Joon Park. He is a United States Army combat veteran who was shot twice while serving our country in Panama in 1989. Like many veterans, he struggled with PTSD and substance abuse after his service. He was arrested in the 1990s for some minor drug offenses, nothing serious. He never hurt anyone besides himself, and he's been clean and sober for 14 years. He is a combat veteran, a Purple Heart recipient. He has sacrificed more for this country than most people ever have. Earlier this year, you deported him to Korea, a country he hasn't lived in since he was 7 years old. Will you join me in thanking Mr. Park for his service to our country?
Sir, I'm grateful for every single person that has served our country and follows our laws.
Can you please tell Mr. Park why you deported him?
Every one of them needs to be enforced.
But you understand that many veterans struggle with PTSD, many veterans struggle with substance abuse challenges. This man took 2 bullets for our country. You have broad authority, by the way, as Secretary, to issue humanitarian parole, to do deferred action. Will you commit to at least looking at Mr. Park's case to see if you can help him find a pathway back to this country that he sacrificed so much for?
I will absolutely look at his case, but I want you to remember that
Madam Secretary, the man behind you, please stand up, sir. His name is Jim Brown from Troy, Missouri. He is a Navy combat veteran who served our country in the Gulf War. He's married to a woman named Donna, who came to our country legally from Ireland when she was 11 years old. She has lived here for 48 years. Because of you, Jim's wife Donna has been in prison for the last 4 months. She did not come here illegally, and she has never committed any crime other than writing 2 bad checks totaling $80 10 years ago. She is currently in prison and facing deportation. Ms. Noem, will you thank Mr. Brown for his service to our country?
Thank you, Mr. Brown, for your service to our country.
Now, what possible explanation can there be for locking up his wife for 4 months when she has committed no crime other than writing a couple of bad checks for $80?
Sir, it is not my prerogative, my latitude, or my job to pick and choose which laws in this country get enforced.
You have broad discretion as the Secretary. You can issue parole, you can do all kinds of things, but you're choosing not to. Will you commit, again, to just reviewing Donna's case and reuniting this combat veteran with his beloved wife, who also loves this country?
I will review the case.
Now, Madam Secretary, you've already heard the story of Lance Corporal Alejandro Barranco, the United States Marine veteran who is behind you, who also has 2 brothers who are United States Marines. Will you thank Lance Corporal Barranco for his service?
Thank you for your service.
His father, Narciso Barranco, is a landscaper in California who has lived peacefully in our country for 30 years and has no criminal record. Last spring, while he was mowing the lawn at an IHOP, ICE agents tackled him in the street and imprisoned him for weeks. A peaceful, hard-working man who raised 3 sons to be United States Marines. We need men of that character in this country. Again, as Secretary, you have broad discretion. Will you consider Lance Corporal Barranco's father for parole in place to stay in our country, owing to the fact that he has contributed to our country by raising 3 United States Marines?
This is an opportunity to remind everybody that every person that's in this country illegally has an opportunity to voluntarily go home and come back the right way.
He raised 3 United States
Marines. We will
Marines.
Facilitate that.
He has been living here peacefully, doing his job for 30 years. You have discretion. You are choosing not to use it. Madam Secretary, you promised America that you would go after the worst of the worst. But these people are not the worst of the worst. A Purple Heart recipient, a military spouse, the father of 3 Marines. And it's not just veterans and military families. You are locking up and deporting children with cancer, mothers with babies in the NICU, United States citizens. There are many problems with your leadership, but the biggest problem is this. You don't seem to know how to tell the difference between the good guys and the bad guys. Go after the bad guys. Go after the terrorists.
The gentlelady from Texas, Ms. Johnson, for 5 minutes of questions.
What just happened in this congressional hearing should outrage anyone who claims to support the military. Representative Seth Magaziner from Rhode Island systematically exposed how Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is using her authority to deport and imprison combat veterans, military spouses, and family members of active duty Marines, despite having broad discretionary power to prevent exactly these outcomes. Magaziner opened by asking Kristi Noem a straightforward question. How many United States military veterans have you deported? She claimed they have not deported U.S. citizens or military veterans. But what followed proved that answer was misleading at best. Magaziner then introduced via Zoom a man named Sejun Park. Sejun Park is a United States Army combat veteran who was shot twice while serving in Panama in 1989. He's a Purple Heart recipient who took 2 bullets for this country. Like many veterans, he struggled with PTSD and substance abuse after his service. He was arrested in the 1990s for minor drug offenses, nothing serious. He never hurt anyone besides himself, and he's been clean and sober for 14 years. Earlier this year, Kristi Noem's department deported him to Korea, a country he hasn't lived in since he was 7 years old. A combat veteran who bled for America, sent to a country he doesn't know because of decades-old minor offenses committed while dealing with service-related trauma. Magaziner asked her to thank Park for his service. She gave a generic response about being grateful for people who serve and follow laws. When pressed on whether she understood that many veterans struggle with PTSD and substance abuse, and whether she would use her broad authority as secretary to review Park's case and help him find a pathway back to the country he sacrificed for, she said she would look at it. But the damage was already done. A Purple Heart recipient had been deported. Then Magaziner introduced the second case. He asked a man in the hearing room to stand. His name is Jim Brown from Troy, Missouri. He's a Navy combat veteran who served in the Gulf War. He's married to a woman named Donna, who came to the United States legally from Ireland when she was 11 years old. She has lived in America for 48 years. Because of Kristi Noem's policies, Jim Brown's wife has been in prison for the last 4 months. Her crime? She wrote 2 bad checks totaling $80 10 years ago. That's it. No other criminal record. No illegal entry. She came here legally as a child and has been here nearly half a century. And she's sitting in prison facing deportation over $80 in bad checks from a decade ago. Magaziner asked what possible explanation there could be for locking up a combat veteran's wife for 4 months over something so minor. She claimed it wasn't her job to pick and choose which laws get enforced, but Magaziner pointed out that she has broad discretion as secretary. She can issue humanitarian parole. She can grant deferred action. She chooses not to. When asked if she would review Donna's case and reunite this combat veteran with his wife, she said she would review it. But again, the veteran's wife remains imprisoned. Then came the third case. Magaziner referenced Lance Corporal Alejandro Barano, a United States Marine veteran who was in the room, along with his 2 brothers, who are also United States Marines. 3 Marines from one family. He asked Kristi Noem to thank the Lance Corporal for his service. She did, but the issue was the Lance Corporal's father, Narciso Barano. He's a landscaper in California who has lived peacefully in the country for 30 years with no criminal record. Last spring, while mowing the lawn at an IHOP, ICE agents tackled him in the street and imprisoned him for weeks. A peaceful, hardworking man who raised 3 sons to be United States Marines. Magaziner pointed out that the country needs men of that character, men who raise their sons to serve in the military. He asked if she would consider parole in place for the father, given that he contributed to America by raising 3 Marines. Her response was that everyone in the country illegally has an opportunity to voluntarily go home and come back the right way. Think about what that means. A man who has been here for 30 years, raised 3 Marines, and has no criminal record should be expected to leave the country and restart the immigration process from scratch, likely facing years of separation from his Marine sons. Magaziner's conclusion was devastating. Kristi Noem promised America she would go after the worst of the worst. But these people aren't the worst of the worst. A Purple Heart recipient, a military spouse, the father of 3 Marines. And it's not just them. The administration is also locking up and deporting children with cancer, mothers with babies in the NICU, even United States citizens. The biggest problem isn't just the policies. It's that Kristi Noem doesn't seem to know how to tell the difference between the good guys and the bad guys. Go after the terrorists. Don't go after veterans, Marines, and their families who have sacrificed for this country. You're watching Inside Politics. Hit subscribe and help us reach 100,000 subscribers and comment your thoughts.